Okay, the other thing now, instead of in class, remember writing A, B, C, D, E, and all that. I've changed writing in class writing into the discussion to the discussion board. Excuse me. Right. So here's what the discussion board is about. All right. So the discussion board goes like this. This is kind of a crap. I have to fix it. And each week, I'm not becoming, they'll be released or whatever, opened, I think every Friday or something. But anyway, so here's the discussion board, right? So here's the first thing. You should see the general questions. So if you have questions that you want to ask about coursework or about the online or anything like that, basically, like if you have questions that other people might benefit from, right, that more than one person be confused about, you want to go ahead and click in the general questions world, and then you can just reply to my prompt there and just type in your question. So, and whenever anybody does this, I will be notified, right? So that I will be able to check it and then I can answer it pretty quickly. So that's the questions one. That's just going to live there for the rest of the time here. But the discussion board, okay, so here's what it is for this week. You're basically going to post the following information about your subject, right? So I'm just trying to get everybody to narrow down their subject and explain it to me. So what's the general subject area? What's the particular topic focus? What's the dominant narrative that you're going to focus on for your research? So the idea is within your subject matter, you're going to try to figure out what one of the main narratives is, and you want to pick a narrative that may be changing or has changed. I'll show you an example in a minute. And you answer questions like, okay, who or what has constructed that narrative? How is it delivered and spread through society? So, and how it's changed or beginning to change, and what are some of the causes of the change. So you click on here to access. So you click here, and now for you to do this, you need to start your own thread, right? So you want to create a thread, and then basically you can just put, I mean, it'll tell me who did it over here in the author world, but you're just going to type your name or writing H or whatever, and then my prompt's above. And so then you will just, I mean, I tried this on the video and it worked. I just copied, then pasted it in my little section here, and then I would fill it in, and then I would submit it over here. And I'll show you one now. So that's one thing that discussion is. The other thing I want people to do for the discussion is to comment on 2 of their classmates, right? So people need to post sooner the better so that other people can read theirs and comment on them. Ooh, you know what would be a good idea? That just occurred to me. If you create a thread, maybe the title should be whatever it is that you're focusing on. Right, so mine is narrative in higher education. Okay, so then I post mine there, and then what you'll see is you'll see the title there, so that you will know. So when you have to come to people's, maybe you go to people who are doing your same subject, right, and click on theirs and read theirs, and you're just going to make a comment. Let me show you an example of that. Okay, so here's my example post. So I have this narrative in higher education. My focus is going to be on the necessity and the benefits and costs of college. Explain what the dominant narrative. So the dominant narrative that I'll focus on is the following. Obtaining a traditional college education gives students the skills and knowledge they need to succeed in every aspect of life. Okay, that additional sort of story we tell ourselves about traditional college, right? So I'm going to say that's the narrative. Who or what constructed that narrative? Okay, this is a narrative created by the baby boomers, which is sort of true. When it became clear that there were 2 types of work, there were blue collar and white collar, right? And it was understood that white collar was better and would earn a person more money, and white collar required skills and knowledge that could only be obtained in college. So that's the narrative. That's sort of where we get this idea from. A lot of my research and a lot of my writing is going to be about talking about how that's changed, right? And many things have changed it, but so how is that narrative delivered and spread through society? The narrative has been spread by the government, which saw college as a way to have an educated population. Colleges and universities began to spread the narrative as they began to make money and become successful. Business and industry has helped to spread the narrative by preferring to hire applicants who have a degree. So that's how it's been spread. And then explain the changes, some change that has happened. Yes, the answer to the chat question is yes. Yep, you don't have to comment on just your own subject. You can comment on any, doesn't matter. It's just two of them. I just thought it would be helpful. It might be helpful. Okay, explain how the narrative has changed or begun to change, right? So technological advances as well as universal access to information has started to change this narrative. The skills that may be required in the future may be different from the skills we're taught in college. A shift from critical thinking, which is being done more and more by AI, to creative thinking has changed what people need in order to succeed in the future. All right, so that's my post. And so to reply to my post, I click reply, and I write, 4 to 5 sentences commenting on it, either asking questions because I'm unclear about something, or making suggestions or making connections to something that you're writing, right? Like, oh, you did that with higher education. I'm doing higher education, but I'm focusing mostly on whatever, how tuition's gone up and stuff like that. And then I just submit it, and that's my reply. So as far as the discussion board goes, you post once, and then you reply to 2 other people's. Are there questions about that?